Hello everyone, today is May 17th, 2017. I wish to share with you something I've received from Thoth regarding the state. It has to do with the planetary genius. I want to talk a little bit about that. I'm actually going to read some to you about it before I actually tell you what's happening today, according to my receipt. So I'm going to go to the next screen and read a little bit on this to you. This is on my log of Arc of Metatron 777. And it's an article that was written actually by Simeon speaking about my material on planetary genius. And this was probably in, I don't know exactly, but it would have been the late, well, here it says, 1996, that's what it was, right in front of me. And it's a long article, so I'm not going to read all of this to you. I will supply a link because Simeon is very good at how he put it together and his comments and perspectives on it and all of that. It's really good. But right now, I just want to make this short video about what's going on today because I know you may not have a lot of time today to listen to it all, and this is the day it's happening. I wish I could have gotten this out to you earlier, but it just didn't happen that way. So I'm going down to the parts of his quoting me from my material, and not even all of that, just little bits and pieces here, so you can get an idea on the planetary genius if you don't already have it. Okay, so quoting from issue 390 of Temple Doors, my publication. The alphabet, meta-archi, stretch out their fineness of silk and spin a mudra of totality. From the seed light, they gather all the signs into one shining element, bared to the forge of the sun, bathed in the pearls of the moon. Lo, the scroll of golden beams is written with the quills of their burnishing might and set into the living pulse of the mother realm. And Thoth comments on this. Apparently Thoth is quoting from a text. It might be the book of the Zarathustrian lords. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, now he's saying, understanding the nature of the light molecule, the Imstra, embroideries its path or passage upon the heart of the initiate. This understanding becomes an embodiment of spiritual knowing, a nation of consciousness which acts as one entity of will. In this contemplation, spiritual consciousness becomes a guardian spirit of a high order, emanating from individual spiritualized egos who gather as signs of one shining element to form what the Zerum-Okhtba called genius. That's Zerum-Okhtba, I believe. And so a note from Simeon about this, he says, in the passage from the Zerum-Okhtba, it stated that the alphabet will be gathering all the signs from the seed light, the genius within the center of the planet, into one shining element, whereas here Tahuti or Thoth says that the spiritualized ego will gather as signs of one shining element. One must see that the first statement we are contemplating from the perspective of the alphabet, the meta-archi, but in the second statement, we are viewing from the perspective of the spiritualized egos. And now to continue with my text. And the genius of each nation of consciousness shall come from the center of the planet, visiting unto the tribal lords, who shall then become their genius and take upon themselves the tribunum, grail, the cup of the molten sea. This they shall consume unto their flesh and burn away that which is forsaken of spirit, receiving into their hearts the inscription of in the fire. Sorry about that. The inscription in the fire. Tahuti comments thusly: the passage foretells the effect of the light molecule upon the tribal lords, those souls in spiritual power upon the planet who will be ready to accept the initiation of the Grail, the incorporation of the light molecule into the body by becoming their genius. The genius comes from the center of the planet, for it is a part of the nature world. It is the corporate body spiritualized egos which have gathered their signs upon the holy signs from the Holy of Holies at the center of the earth, the world's creative matrix. As a genius is formed, so it offers its being to an incarnated tribal lord, and thus the spiritualized ego, created being, can become a human being who is ready to receive the genius consciousness. Now that's pretty heavy there, or full of light, whichever way you want to look at it. And a lot can be said just about that part. But initially, these tribal lords, obviously these are human beings incarnated on the planet. But who are they? Thoth doesn't really go into that. Are they some gurus up high on a mountaintop that are holding the tribal consciousness for the planet? Are they among us now? But I would say that they're obviously highly spiritualized beings. They're not just, enlightened New Agers. they're far beyond that. Take him, the genius, into your heart, for there are lodged an eternal angel. I imagine that would be there is lodged an eternal angel to bless and receive him in your name. Tahuti comments thusly: in the book of the Zarathustrian Lords, the genius is the single most important vehicle in the completion of victory over evil. Now, the book of Zarathustrian Lords is also this Octam book. That's the ancient name, and he's calling it the book of the Zarathustrian Lords, but it's one and the same. So, again, in the book of the Zarathustrian Lords, the genius is the single most important vehicle in the contemplation of victory over evil. For an incarnated soul, tribal lord, who has received their genius, is the one form of being who can utterly destroy the beast. The talisman of the master is the blood covenant. It is his suffrage of the vine from whence the people receive their renewing grace. He who bears the talisman for all shall wear the robe of crimson and the robe of purple. From his veins the fountain is sustained, even when the well is dry. Thoth comments thusly: the talisman of the master is again an aspect of the Grail, as it becomes a votive of the blood covenant, that sacred blood within all peoples of the earth, which in most instances, excluding certain very advanced soul embodiments, is yet to be separated from the tincture of defilement brought about in the fall of grace. It is the Christ in Jesus that bore the talisman for all. It was Jesus who wore both the crimson robe of the outrushing blood and the purple robe of the inrushing blood. And we could see the crimson robe as being the blood path, and the purple robe is coming from the white stone, or the path of the white stone, the path of grace. The inrushing blood is the vehicle that sustains the Grail consciousness within the atomic nature. It is the preservation and exaltation of spirit in matter. Quite literally, through the blood of the Master Jesus, a tribal lord of the first order, the genius was accepted on an etheric level for the entire human evolution. This is the fountain that sustains even when the individualized wells are dry. The essence of this grace factor is to be found in the seemingly simplistic expression, Jesus died for our sins. Let's see. then the rest is going on with Simeon's interpretation and reflection on all of it, which is very good. And I want to get down here to Thoth defining planetary genius. First, let us define genius. If one were to depict thought as milk setting in a pail, when the pail representing the limitations of mind, the cream risen to the top would be the genius, the risen portion of pure knowing within the realm of intelligence. There is knowing outside intelligence if we define intelligence within your planetary evolution as an awareness of self, and how that self emerges from spirit, and how it interrelates with other selves. Even though many human beings today who are intelligent are primarily so in the realm of the lower mind, they have the capacity within their intellectual field to move into the higher mind. Parasites, insects, lower fish and mammals, and most surface human plants now exist outside the hoop of intelligent knowing. Once they too were included, but when the planetary genius was withdrawn into the center of the earth, these creatures were abandoned. This is why we have animals that kill one another for their survival at this time. While this is a natural balance of things within the reality that has had the genius withdrawn from it, it is not in balance within the greater plan of evolution for the planet. Humans are still able to hold onto this field of intelligence because of their highly developed DNA, as are the higher animals and some fish. I'm interested about the fish. I never thought of, we have, of course, the cetaceans, but they're mammals. So I don't know what fish he's speaking about. But all these sentient forms only have one toe in the water of the genius intelligence stream. The personal geniuses of every individual and living thing on the planet are actually only individual limbs from the same tree, and that one tree is the planetary genius. When Metatron invoked the 7 seals of revelations upon mankind, he also withdrew the radiant field of planetary genius back into the central sun of the earth, where it is indwelling. Those God-born who had become infants of the day would not be allowed to play with loaded pistols. The power to leave the fallen reality behind is within the planetary genius. The infants must reclaim their God selves once again before they will be returned their geniuses. To further clarify the planetary genius, it is the completed thought form containing the identity of consciousness, doctrine of signature, signs of the one shining element, for your world domain, from its alpha through omega, beginning to end. It is untainted, free of all illusion, and yet it is not omnipotent, as it defines and identifies. Therefore, it has a distinct polarity, and that polarity is to qualify and preserve the Ashatan of the earth. Thoth referred Maya, that's me, to Rowena Kreider's Gaia Matrix Oracle on the definition of Ashatan. And this is what Rowena said about it. The earth is a wisdom body. Gaia has the personal tradition at her core. Ashatan means the last things. All can be consumed except the truth represented by the new earth spiritual world. The phase of Ashatan is illuminative, fiery, spiritual consummation of the earth and all beings within and upon her. Thoth speaks about it, saying, now that was the end of Rowena's quote. And now Thoth says, the truth as defined in Ms. Kreider's statement is the planetary genius, which in the final stage of Ashatan must be transferred into the new Earth star. In that sacred moment, it becomes the prima matra of the old Earth conjuncto with the new Earth, creating the pure gem being, which will radiate from the center of the Earth star of humanity's new life fountain. Now, I think that's all I'm going to read on it. I will put the link to the entire article of Simeon's, which includes my information, where I embed this video. But now I want to speak to you about what is happening today, May 17th, 2017. Now, when I say it's happening today, I don't know exactly how this works because we have multiple realities going on. We have multiple time frames. We have multiple timelines. All these things are trying to sort themselves out for our planetary expression. But Thoth gives a determinative date sometimes as a date where we focus on this activity. So that's what this date is about. And what is happening today, just the skinny on it, because I don't know the whole picture, obviously. I was shown, about a month ago, how I was shown Gaia as a female being. And she was literally an embryo being. And her head was crowning through the crest and the stone here in Crestone, that is the ascension, that is the crown chakra of the ascension temple. So I saw the mountain, and I saw her coming up inside the mountain, up through it, and the top of her head was like just about ready to come through the crown. So the crown was literally becoming the vagina, and the body of the Gaia, her head, was like almost ready to come through the opening to be born into a new realm. And I asked Thoth what I was seeing when I was seeing this, and he told me that when the planetary genius is retrieved from the center of the earth by certain souls, that it will be their job to gather and do that in the final Ishaten moments, it will be brought through the crown chakra of the ascension temple and into the new planetary realm. Okay, so that in mind, what is happening today is that it's like the planetary genius is in the womb still, and it is turning. It is turning its critical rotational position in the womb so that it aligns to the new impulses that are coming through that I spoke about, the heliotrope sheath and all of that in a previous talk video. And these new impulse CRP alignments that are being given the planet and given our cells, our human being cells, and the critical rotational positions of our brains on the brainstem and all of this. Well, the planetary genius as a body is turning with this critical rotational position change to a new direction. And that is what this keynote today is all about. In order for it to crown and move through into the new Earth Star, whenever that happens, and that's in the future, it has to go through these CRPs, and today is the first major one. So that's what today is about. How you relate to that, and how, or if you relate to it at all, is entirely an individual expression experience. But I wanted you to know about it from the Thothic perspective. So that's really all I have to share with you today. I want to make this as short as possible, so it will be something that you can possibly have time to watch today. And if not, certainly you can hear it another day. But I wanted you to know about it. Anyway, so let's see if I can put this. Oh my goodness, my mouse fell off here. I'm going to try to end this recording here. And thank you so much for listening.